Why does life seem so repetitive? See, this is a question most likely so many people have asked themselves. But see, things simply kind of don't seem to change at all. When you look at us nowadays in this world that we live, what is the difference in between us and the people in the Middle Ages and the people in the Stone Age, for example? Well, when I was asked such a question, I told them, see, the only thing that people had back in the Stone Age, in the Middle Ages, and even now, is their faith, whatever they believe in, and, well, a place to work or something to do so that they can help somewhat, at least minimalistically, their community, and, well, the few things that they can call their home and the few things that they can make use of, right? A warm bed, someone maybe around, a family or something like that. And they said, yeah, but we've got present day technologies. See, every generation had their own technology, which they made pretty damn good use of. Because if they wouldn't, we wouldn't have been here. Maybe the Stone Age would have used stone and maybe metal tools, whatever, throughout the Stone Age, Metal Age. People designed their own tools and the such. They had their own technology and they made great use of it. But in the end, the only thing that was common is our reptilian brain, our inability to adapt to the intellect that we can acquire, to the great resources that we have. Because when you look throughout all the generations, why is it that everything is bad? Because, well, everything is in a way good. Our ancestors, well, they survived, they carried their genes further through their children. Maybe they were not good at transcending certain karmic cycles, but in the end, they simply did whatever best they could. Now you also carry some of their misaccomplishments, misfortunes, and they will drag you down just like, you know, the people around you most likely will pull you down. Because in the end, the past, as they say, is a continuation of the future, right? And, well, wait, it was vice versa. The present is a continuation of the past, but if you look at it karmically, there is no such thing as future or past for ignorant people. Because those who are doing the same thing again and again, they don't have any past, they don't have any future. They just have an ongoing cycle, which is basically going to be the present for them. Whether you think about the future or you live too much in the past, as they say, you still live in the present and you're thinking about those now in the present. And when we look at things and the such, see, everything has been going on in the same freaking way. How? Well, you see, those who ended up in slots in what it is that led society, whatever regime it had, whatever government form it had, obviously narcissistic features in this maddening society and enraged society have just done it that the older generations will always pit themselves against the new generations, and older generations will always complain that the newer generations have it much easier, but they always seem to not care about anyone else. See, when people don't care about you, as I've thought of this a long time ago, when people can't care about you, that is not an anchor. It shouldn't be weighing on you. It should be your greatest liberation. Because if there came a moment or a situation in which you could simply leave what you currently have, your current life, well, let's say you pack your goods and you go, but you leave all the people behind and you move to a different environment. Maybe people will be friendlier there. If you do some research, you might be, you know, you might be in store, you might find better people. And should you move? Well, you see, the other environment most likely won't be different, let's say. But the people where you are at currently, if they don't care about you, well, there is literally no break, nothing that could actually keep you there. Those people don't care about you, they don't care about themselves most likely, so you simply can move on. But each generation complains that the next generation has it much easier because, see, when people chase the same useless dreams they have been chasing back in the times, that they are working for a better society, that they are fighting for a better society, that they are doing everything to, to better society, see, that is never going to end in any avail. They will simply end up with the same depression, feeling alone, and feeling that their whole life went to waste. This is, a very perverted way through occult means discovered, and well, exploitation of the mind and the especially the what's it called, the ritualistic existence of the male energy, right? The tribalism. You must do something for your community. You must always be in service. See, when this got abused in time, people who were in rulership positions, so that people can easily be bent into being convinced that they can work and they can do all the job, even their work. The people who are in the rulership positions can have their jobs and their well-being ensured by those who actually do the work. And not only that, but those who work can be easily, in their ignorance, be convinced that they also must be taxed, because not only do you work like a slave, but you also must be taxed, because well, your tax money isn't going anywhere, or is not going to be put into anything that will make your life better. Like, if you think the Middle Ages have been very different than nowadays, just take a look in Europe or in America and see your tax money isn't going anywhere. It is going in wars that have no enemies. It is going in other people's businesses. It is going in other people's interests. And what do you get? Well, you get mega corporations that always thrive out of your silly money. And in the end, you're not simply gonna matter. If you look at the stupid European Union, the only thing they babble about is, cybernetification of everyone. They want electronic wallets, they want digitalization of money. But ask yourself, wasn't it back in the pandemic times that they were teaching you throughout the middle of a pandemic? And strangely, during a winter, they were teaching you and programming you through the televisions that the whole electric supply in Europe may be closed for 2 weeks. And they were giving you tips on how to take care of yourself when the current shuts down. And you could probably remember the idiocy of those imbeciles at the news telling you, well, you should also have your tank, your car tank, right, your fuel tank, at least half filled, because in case of that electric failure, you need to go by car here and there, and if it is at least half full, well, you can make use of your car and then you can refill it again. Dude, are you really retarded? Like, these are the people who have been ruling humanity for so long. It's like, how retarded can you actually be? If, like, the whole electricity falls is out in the city, those pumps that you pump the fuel into your car with, they use electricity, you dumbasses. How much of a naive person could people have been to simply believe that a sick society actually cares for you? Since when does a sick society care about you? When its only purpose seems to be pitting the older generations against the younger generations. Now you hear them talk about the traditional family, as if the family of how it's always been till now must sound like some obsolete term to some of those people, the simple minded people who easily fall for the woke agendas and the such. See, when you look at the depravity that is ruling over Europe, not the European people or America, the depravity that has been representing America's administration, and especially the Brussels administration, with all their imbeciles ideas, you will see your money, you've been working your asses like a slave, and your money hasn't been put into anything. They're creating you wars with no enemies that you don't have any fucking business with. They're crumbling governments, they're crumbling countries, and they're making you feel that it is your fault for that. Narcissism has been stinking in this society for thousands of years. And believe me, it's been the same in the Middle Ages, it's been the same nowadays. But with social media, it is so much easier to spread things and to program people to stay stupid, to stay simple, with all sorts of ridiculous music and whatever else. So if you have this question that why life functions the same, it's not because you have been living a cyclic life. It's because your parents, your grandparents, everyone else has been doing the same shit. They didn't have anything special to do with their lives other than simply work for others and not achieve much anyways, because your work is not going to change society in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you're gonna build a block of flats. Maybe you're gonna build a new governmental being, but as long as we people are ignorant, nothing's gonna change. You can build the biggest temples, you can build anything you want, it's not going to change a thing. So, life is all about expansion, reaching newer, better heights. But these fuckers, the people, these idiots who always surround themselves with greater idiots, it is a high time that they actually are replaced with people that actually have empathy, with people who can understand the fact that a war is irrelevant, that that war actually has no enemies, because in most of the situations, it's kind of the same enemy. It's kind of the same person giving weapons to both sides. And once they crumble themselves, once they crumble their entire country, they're going to come as, the so-called saviors, who's been that one country that kind of has paid most of the world a visit and left a ruin behind. Well, it can also be other superpowers as well. But in the end, people have to understand these wars, all these are nothing but distractions from yourself. All these cell phones and the such. Well, maybe they're recording you, but if you don't have anything to hide, well, that's not a problem. But the point is, why is it that everything seems to be so based on hyper technologization of everything? But when you look at the quality of the technology, it is failing harder and harder. Windows 11 is just a piece of junk. It is more horrible than Windows 10 was. But Windows 10 was acceptable, yes, but Windows 11 is like a whole piece of trash. And they're just pushing it more and more aggressively. And you're like feeling like you have less and less control over your machine. Well, they said it 2 years ago that they're gonna make your entire hard drive, you're gonna be obliged through Windows, you're gonna be obliged to actually put it on, a different hard drive. You're gonna have your entire space on your hard drive on a cloud device. So whatever you have in your computer, you will no longer have much of an ownership, because now anyone else can have access to it. And if someone wants, well, that space will probably be shut down, or maybe they want to do something happens, it's going to be erased. Well, all your information is now erased because you're not going to have your information stored in your PC. I've been hearing about this for like 2 years ago, since like 2 years, and well, it doesn't feel that Windows is going in any other way or direction. So people have to wake up to realize you don't need a damn fucking mega corporation to tell you how you should live your life. You are the stars, but they have to dim your light in order to, try to shine that little piece of shit lighting that they have. Narcissists don't have any light. They are just some piece of nothing. And, well, that's what they should be staying. That's what they will be staying, because narcissists can never change. They will probably change a few tactics, but it's the same obsessions behind that numbskull and nothingness beyond their eyes. It's been such kind of people that have been ruling society. So obviously, they have been employing the same ways, imposing these same ways, including everything in this vicious cycle of pulling you down, of making you feel guilty of everything, ashamed of everything, that everything is wrong with you. Even science has been designed in a way to teach you ever since you are young that you are bad, you're evil since birth. Even religion was designed to make you think that you're aggressive, you're bad, to pull everything bad out of you, to only see wars and everything bad around you. Because when people are kept at the edge of survival, how can life be otherwise, right? So, no, it's not your life that is repetitive. Life has been so for thousands of years. It is high time people wake up and actually start committing to some changes. All this being said, hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenc Jan Board signing out.